Hi, I've been trying to make this video for weeks and I've been so slammed since I came out of hospital that I've been basically pretty much in bed. So finally, here I am. I really want to tell you about this book that I've been reading because it finally explains why the approach that we use is so effective. It was really apparent that, people are making huge shifts as a result of this work, but we've never really had a neuroscience basis for that until I came across this book, which came from my lovely brother out of law, Miles Irving. Thanks, Miles, for that. And it's all about a process that neuroscientists have termed memory reconsolidation. So until about 10 years ago, psychologists used to think that when we laid down emotional learning in the brain, the synapses would get kind of locked around those neural pathways. And that was basically permanent. We couldn't change that emotional learning once it had happened. So any of the symptoms associated with that, they thought we could change those by using techniques such as cognitive behavioral therapy, for example, where you would just change that behavior away from the kind of automatic behavior over and over again, just exerting your willpower, which is obviously very strenuous and doesn't really get you anywhere because you still have to go through the process of changing your behavior. And what they actually discovered about 10 years ago is that this isn't true. That within a certain framework, within a very specific sequence, these synapses can actually be released and the emotional learning can be lifted out, can be completely erased, and therefore the whole domino of behaviours associated with that emotional learning will also be erased. This is quite exciting because it just so happens that the sequence that they're describing is what we are actually already doing in the approach from hand-in-hand parenting. And the approach is based around bringing up an emotional memory, so going back to that emotional learning at its root, and then countering it with evidence of the opposite being true. So say, for example, you're someone who it feels like everybody in your life just needs so much from you all the time, and there's never any space for you and you're run ragged. And sometimes you manage to catch this and set limits with people in your life. But actually very often it just all happens so quickly, and before you know it, you've rushed to fix something or you've signed up for something that you didn't really want to do. And probably you know that actually this is related to early experiences in your life. Maybe your mother wasn't really okay when you were really little, and therefore you had to be responsible for making sure siblings were okay, making sure things happened in your home. Maybe you just needed to make sure you didn't need anything because that would have been too much for her. And so what happens is that these behaviors become a compulsion. This over-functioning is as a result of very deep-seated beliefs around, needing to perform in a certain way in order to receive love, or it not being safe to let go a little bit because no one else is going to be there to catch you. And so if you can go back and re-experience this maybe an early memory associated with this, perhaps you can remember a time where, I don't know, Dad got scary and Mum was frightened and you really needed something but you didn't feel like you could ask and it was extremely lonely. And we're not talking about doing this kind of intellectually. We're not analysing this. We're actually doing it very somatically through the body. We're feeling the sensations associated with that memory. And this is much easier to do when you're in kind of connection with another brain, when you're in co-regulation. The safety from having somebody with you really allows you to re-experience these early memories more fully. And what neuroscientists have discovered is that when you can bring up a memory like this, the brain actually becomes labile, which means kind of changeable, like plastic. For a period of time. You've got a window of 5 hours for reconsolidation. And if during this window you can actively counter this memory with evidence of the opposite being true, the brain actually unlocks the synapses and lets go of this emotional learning. And its erasure is permanent. You no longer have the symptoms or behaviours associated with it. And yeah, those kind of core beliefs just aren't really there anymore. Sometimes it can actually change your autobiographical memory because your memory has been so much intertwined with the kind of beliefs that you had at the time. But sometimes the memory is unchanged. It's just you feel kind of neutral about it. So I was thinking about this in the context of deep work, where you meet with a small group of people for an hour every week for 6 months. And this is a group where we're fostering this kind of profound safety and connection. Most people comment that by the end, they feel the other participants in the group know them better than anyone else in their life. And you've got this kind of closeness and unwavering support just beamed at you every week. The kind of fundamental structure of this actually opposes many of our implicit emotional memories around not fitting in, around not feeling safe, around being lonely, isolated. It counters the shame that we all carry around with us because you've got this group of people who unequivocally think you're wonderful, whatever you say. And then obviously we're doing much more targeted work around these emotional learning. So we have a different direction each week, maybe around money or power or relationships or boundaries or, you know, all the kind of the core things that impact all of us. And you've also got the skillfulness of someone like me who has various techniques to help you find evidence of the contrary to that initial belief structure. And so it finally makes sense to me why this is so effective. And yeah, I've been really, really enjoying learning about it. I haven't actually even finished the book yet, so I'm probably going to bombard you with more and more videos about this stuff. But If you are at all interested in exploring this any further, the reason I made the video today is that tonight we actually have a taster session for deep work. And regardless of whether you're interested in doing deep work or not, you can come along and just explore this approach. So that's at 8 o'clock tonight. I'll make sure you got the link. And yeah, love to hear your thoughts on this. Yeah, I'm delighted to finally have an explanation. So thanks for listening.